Welcome to the Book of Enoch, where we're going through the Book of Enoch verse by verse, because the Book of Enoch is by far the best example of what it'll be like in the days of Noah, because Enoch was there. And it's, I believe, incredibly important to go through it. And I'm not saying it belongs in the Bible. I'm not saying it doesn't. I just think it's important to go through. And I also have found that so far there is nothing that contradicts the Word of God that I've found in there. If anything, it just supports it and makes it make more sense to me as I read it. But there it is. Tear your shirts, yell blasphemy, whatever. But I think it's important to go through. Again, at the very least, because that way we can kind of know what it'll be like in the days of Noah. You know, when Jesus said the end times will be like in the days of Noah, and you heard that there was a guy who was there who wrote down what he saw, I'd be interested in reading it. And that's why we're going through it. And where we are is we're at this place where 7 angels have taken him to show him the jail that will be the judgment place in the end times, the lake of fire. And that is at the end of heaven and earth. And then all of a sudden, he's being kind of introduced to these 7 angels. And we saw before that there's 7 mountains that represent the 7 principalities of wickedness on this earth. Satan being that center mountain, and then 6 other demonic things that are princes of this earth. Just like the dragon had 7 heads, and just like the beast has 7 heads, and it says those who have wisdom, you know, the 7 mountains, that's what they are. They're those 7 principalities of wickedness. Well, just like that, there's 7 good mountains, and we're being introduced to those 7 good mountains. So we're just going to pick it up there in chapter 20. And these are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Tartarus. Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels, to wit, he that is set over the best part of mankind and over chaos. Seraquel, one of the holy angels who is set over the spirits who sin in the spirit. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over paradise and the serpents and the cherubim. Ramiel, one of the holy angels who God set over those who rise. All right, so today we're going to focus on Raguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. But I want to kind of, here you got 7, Michael being the center one. And if we go to chapter 24, it says this: I went beyond it and saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other. And the stone thereof were magnificent and beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of glorious appearance and fair exterior. 3 towards the east, one founded on the other. 3 towards the south, one upon the other. And deep, rough ravines, one of which joined with any other. So these are the 7 good mountains, is what we're looking at here. And Raguel, one of the holy angels, his job, like what his job is then and now, is to take vengeance on the world of the luminaries. I mean, think about that for a second. So he's taking vengeance on the world through the sun, the moon, and the stars. So whereas in Uriel, we saw in Revelation, Uriel was that king with the angel who had the key to the bottomless pit. Because he's the holy angel, is over the world and over Tartarus. Raguel is the holy angel who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. So he's the one that when you see that mighty angel in Revelation throw a rock at the earth, when that meteor hits that earth, it is Raguel who's tossing that angel. It's interesting to kind of know, well, not only is it a mighty angel, like Revelation says, but his name is Raguel. Like he's literally going to take a rock and he's going to throw it at it. And when the sun and the moon disappeared, is Raguel in charge of all that stuff, all of it. He's the one who's in charge of taking vengeance on the world of the luminaries. And what do you think that is? That is God's justice. That is his vengeance on the world. That's how Babylon gets destroyed. That's 1/3 of the earth gets destroyed because of what Raguel does. And he's the one in charge. When you see like the blood moons, or you see all those signs in the stars and in heaven, it is Raguel who is in charge of that sort of thing. Really just kind of fascinating. And then the very next one, Michael, one of the holy angels to wit, he's that center mountain. But Ragel, if you're kind of wondering, well, what do these angels do? I think it's kind of good to know, because as we go through tribulation, as we go through Revelation, when that smoke comes out of the bottomless pit and darkens the earth, you'll be like, okay, that was Uriel that did that. And when that meteor hits and destroys a third of the earth and a third of mankind is killed in that moment, you could sit there and go, oh, that was Ragel that did that. And I want to remind you that as we looked at, for example, Raphael in the last episode, he's one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of men. So he's over freedom. He's over freedom, because that's what the spirits are, and of men. They're not free. These angels are not free. We are free. We're free to do whatever we want. I mean, there is the law of God, and we could disobey it if we want. The cost of sin is death, and that's your choice, but it's still your choice to freely make. And when people ask, well, why is there so much evil in the world? It's because of freedom. But these angels have no freedom. They're doing exactly what God says every single time. So when he throws a meteor at the earth and he destroys a third of the earth and a third of mankind is dead, it is God that told him to do that. Remember that. It's good to know, because as you see these things happen, you kind of can think to yourself, well, wait a second. This stuff is supposed to happen. This is supposed to happen. God is in charge, and all these things that we see playing out just like this, it is God who gave the directive to Ragel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries, to do this thing. When that bottomless pit opens up and smoke comes out and darkens the whole earth, I'm sure it'll be terrifying. The whole world will be darkened from smoke. Just know that it is Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the world and over Tartarus, which is the bottomless pit, the underworld. Understanding that God's in charge is critical, and who he's putting in charge of that event is, in my opinion, darn interesting. So there you go, man. Thanks for continuing to join us. Thanks for digging with us. We're just going to keep on digging. Welcome to the Book of Enoch.